do. Let me sag my pants. Let me pull my pants up. Let me talk this way, or act this way, or be this way, or whatever the hell it may be. God, so many different things I did to try to fit in with so many different groups that when you look in the mirror, that's the one person you can't lie to.
We have other.
I'll reflect back on some of the lies I told somebody, or some of the ways I feel comfortable doing, and I did it to impress other normal people, to keep with their normal, everyday people. I was trying to make other people like me. How pathetic is that? So.
We are now learning that hundreds of people have now died in a strike on a Gaza hospital. This comes as the IDF jets just continue to attack Hamas targets, killing the terror group's head of military intelligence overnight.
Negotiators are also still talking with Hamas about the release of around 200 hostages that are still being held in Gaza. Palestinian and Israeli officials now say around 4,000 people total on both sides have died since the fighting started on October 7th. Let's bring in ABC's Inez de la Cotera. She's in Jerusalem. Inez, what are you learning about this strike on the hospital, and how are things there tonight?
Hey guys, some devastating news out of Gaza there. We are learning that a hospital was struck. This is the Baptist City, the Baptist Hospital in Gaza City, and we are learning at least 200 to 300 people may have been killed in that single strike. The death toll expected to rise. These are people who were likely being treated for injuries related to the war already. We're seeing images emerging now on social media of the hospital in flames, people running around, doctors rushing to get patients out and get patients help, and it's looking like a totally devastating situation there. We're seeing reports as well that as many as 5,000 people may have been sheltering in place at that hospital. We've talked about this as the IDF has called for civilians to flee the north of Gaza and Gaza City. A lot of these people have nowhere to go, and so they've been going to places like hospitals and like schools to take shelter, and so it's very likely that there were people sheltering in place at that hospital. We don't know just how many people. We don't know if that's the case, but we are starting to see reports there emerging that people were there looking for shelter and certainly being treated for injuries. We're expecting, again, the death toll to rise, but this could be the deadliest strike of the war so far.
And as targeting a hospital, and Israel does have most of its weapons have guiding systems. It is without justification, unless there was something we don't know about, it would be a war crime. So what are we hearing from Israel about the bombing of a hospital? And what else are we hearing about the Hamas head of a military intelligence that they claim to have killed?
Yeah, so when it comes to the hospital, it's a very new situation. This happened just a few moments ago, so it's very much unclear what happened there. We don't know if it was an IDF strike. We don't know if it was a misfired Hamas rocket. We just don't know at this point. This really happened just moments ago, so we'll see what happens there. But you're right. The IDF has been relentlessly striking the Gaza Strip, specifically the north of Gaza, and they did take out earlier today the former head of military intelligence there for Hamas. So this is a top Hamas operative, part of the military wing of Hamas, certainly a big get for the IDF. We know this is someone who was responsible in the past for the production and development of weapons. He was responsible for carrying out, according to the IDF, terror attacks on Israeli citizens and on soldiers. And I think most importantly, he was someone who was in charge of figuring out the targets for Hamas rockets. So a big deal. The IDF certainly touting that as a win, guys.
We should point out, too, we're waiting for a Pentagon briefing here back in the U.S., hopefully to get more information possibly on this strike, in addition to the readiness of troops here in the U.S. to possibly head to the Middle East. Meanwhile, let's talk about the looming ground invasion, Inez. Are there any signs of when that could happen?
Yeah, still unclear at this point, so we're all kind of waiting here. The IDF certainly says that they are ready, that they are making the final preparations here for this potential ground invasion. We did hear from some IDF officials earlier today that were not necessarily walking back their claims that a ground invasion is imminent, but warning that what may be yet to come could be different than what we expect. So they have said that they are planning a coordinated attack by land, by sea, by air, that would involve a ground incursion into Gaza, but they seem to try and they're seemingly trying to temper maybe expectations there, and they are saying that it might look different than what we expect.
Inez de la Cuetera there in Jerusalem for us. Inez, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News.